Welcome to the Heal and Transform podcast with your host, Andrew Ramsden. Andrew finds top experts to pick their brains about what coaches, therapists, and other complementary practitioners can do to level up and amplify the work so we can heal and transform the world together.
G'day everyone, we're live and welcome to the very first. It's a little bit experimental. This is the first time we've done the live stream. So today I'm very happy to say that we've got Cameron Roberts on the show and I'm going to have a chat with him. Cameron is a marketing guru for entrepreneurs and small business owners, and he helps them launch their products and scale their business. But he's also a multiple time successful entrepreneur in his own right with multiple businesses. And then in his past life before that, he started out as a very successful national and international swimming coach and has a number of gold medalists that he coached over that time. So I hope you'll join me in welcoming Cameron Roberts to the show. G'day Cameron, how are you?
Good, thanks for having me on.
No worries, thanks for joining me. Hey, it was great chatting with you offline and getting to hear a little bit about your story and what an amazing journey it's been. Do you mind if we start with a little bit of that and we start at the start?
Sure.
I know in your past life you were a swimming coach.
Yeah.
What did you do before that? What led to that?
Yeah, that's a good question, Andrew. As I was telling you offline, I actually started off as a swimming teacher. So, when I was about 18, 19, I was offered a job as a swimming teacher. I took that job and that allowed me to fine-tune my skills, I guess you could say, in swimming and coaching, because I was working with very, very young children and working on the basics of developing their strokes and really getting the fundamentals in place of stroke correction and technique. And for me, I took that into the coaching world. So when I transitioned into being a swimming coach from being a swimming teacher and working in the water with young children into being a swimming coach, starting off with juniors and then working through to the senior ranks, one thing I always took with me was that focus on technique. So I was a big believer that technique was critical in swimming, but swimming is all about improving efficiency. And by the way, Andrew, there's a lot of parallels to swimming as there is to business and marketing. In business, there's a lot of techniques that you need to get right. In marketing, if your technique is out in marketing, you can blow thousands of dollars. So for me, I've always been a technical type of person, and technique's always been a big part of what I teach, along with leadership and discipline and commitment, and all of those sorts of things that help people become successful. But for me, to answer your question, I started off as a swimming teacher, I was a swimmer, so I knew how to teach swimming. But it's different being an athlete and knowing how to swim than learning how to teach others. It's actually reverse engineered. So, I learned how to teach, and I was really good at developing rapport with young children. And I took those skills that I developed in that area, and then I applied them to my swimming coaching career. And I took those skills that I developed in the swimming coaching career on motivating people, developing teams, developing leaderships, inspiring people, helping people set goals. I took those principles that I learned as a successful gold medal coach and put them into business. And then I applied them to my own business. And then other people started asking for help because they could see how successful my own bricks and mortar businesses were. And before I knew it, I had a coaching and consulting business on the side. That business became so successful that we cashed out of our bricks and mortar businesses and started my coaching and consulting business, which is the one I'm in now and have been in ever since.
Yeah, wow. Well, that brings us up to speed very, very quickly. So That's fantastic. Thank you. That's the journey from swimming teacher through to swimming coach through to starting that business and multiple businesses, right?
Yeah.
You had multiple businesses there that did really, really well. Tell us a little bit about that. What were a couple of those businesses?
Yeah, so the two businesses that we had, I went from swimming coaching into opening my own swim school. So I kind of went full circle. I started off as a swimming teacher. I then got into coaching. In a 7-year coaching career, I coached over 150 state medalists, 30 national medalists. A couple of athletes went on to win gold medals at the Olympics, one in Seoul won gold in the relay in Seoul. Another one won gold in the 2000 Junior Olympics. So I took those principles and I applied them in my businesses. And from that coaching industry, I opened my own swim school and went full circle again to swimming teaching. So I went from being a swimming teacher, being a very successful swimming coach and coaching athletes, to going back full circle and teaching young babies and young children how to swim again. So the swim school was our first business. We opened that. Within 2 years, it was the most successful swim school in the region and probably in New South Wales. It won more awards of its kind than any of our competitors combined. We were doing 800 baby lessons every week. We're doing about 1,200 lessons a week in a 17-metre pool. And then, so after about 2 years, then we opened a small gym. It was like a personal training studio. And then that business became an award-winning business as well. So at one time, we had 30-odd staff and 1,500 weekly clients each and every week. We did that for about 10 years. And then in that 10-year period, as I said, the third business came about, and that was the coaching and consulting business. And how that came about was because my swim school clients and the swim school and the small gym, the personal training studio, they were two totally different businesses. They didn't look like each other. They were two different names, two different locations. But something interesting happened. What was happening is like a swim school client, that one of the parents, they would end up at the personal training studio and they would walk in for, talk about personal training or talk about getting fit. And they'd see me there and they go, "Oh, what are you doing here?" And I'd say, "Well, this is my business." And one of the comments we used to get from people all the time was they thought our businesses were franchises because of the branding, the marketing, and the way we positioned them in the marketplaces. And so, and I was proud of that because that was my intention. I wanted to set the brand up that people knew. And so what was happening, like we get a crossover between both businesses. We had people who started in personal training, have conversations with us and go, "Oh, you're the guy that owns Aquastars," and, then go to a swim school. And people from the swim school would hear about the gym and go up to the gym. And then so what would happen after that point, we had business owners who ran their own businesses who were a part of the swim school or a part of the gym reach out to me and ask help for their marketing because they could see the type of branding we were doing. They see the type of marketing we were doing, and they would ask me for help. Initially, I actually started helping people for free because I was just helping my own clients, right? Swim school clients or gym clients, and I was just, yes, let's catch up for a coffee. I'll help you out. But before
obviously, you love doing this. This was something that was a passion of yours.
At that point, Andrew, I didn't know it was another business. I was just helping people. I was just helping people out, right? So anyway, I realised after a period of time, after I was helping a handful of people, that hang on a minute, this is another business. So I started pursuing that more seriously and growing that as a serious business. One thing led to another. I got the opportunity to speak on stage in Australia and work with folks like Pat Mesiti and Mal Emery, and then that catapulted my consulting business. And then we flipped and became full-time in that business.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, the swim school in particular, you were talking about the numbers there, the number of classes you were running. I mean, that scaled to incredible numbers.
Yeah.
And that would have meant putting systems in place, getting staff on. So you've scaled the team, you've scaled your processes. So you've got consistency behind the scenes.
Yeah.
What were some of the challenges that you faced in that from a leadership perspective? I mean, obviously as a coach and a successful coach at that national, international level, you already had leadership experience, but I guess it's more one-on-one. So this becomes that team dynamic. What was that like for you?
Yeah, look, for me, it was just a different group of people. So you've got to remember, I was very successful as an age group swimming coach. And so what I've always done, Andrew, is I've always taken aspects that I've learned in one area of my life and applied it to the next area of my life. And so for me, I took what I learned out of swimming teaching and applied it to swimming coaching, refined, and then took what I learned out of swimming coaching and applied it to swimming, my own businesses, right? So when you say, what are the challenges with running a swim school? For me, they weren't any challenges. I loved it. It was my passion. I loved working with people. But what I was really good at, as you said, scaling, what I was really good at was creating systems. Because when you coach athletes, you have to have a system for them to achieve goals. The system is there's a macro cycle and a micro cycle of training. There's energy systems involved. There's ways to program certain meets to do. So you need a system for success. So I created a system for success for my own businesses. I recognized that there was a marketing system in a business. I recognized there was a sales system in a business. I recognized that there was a document system in a business. You need things documented. You need a process in your business. So business systems, if you like.
Yes.
I recognized that there was people systems. I recognized that there was client systems. So I just became really good at systems. And so for me, the only challenge I would say was putting those systems together. But I was always very good at creating systems, whether it's marketing, sales, business systems, people systems, and I just loved what I was doing. And really, I was just developing a team. I was developing a team of teachers, a team of personal trainers that would go out and serve the local community because, I have a servant heart. I just love helping and serving people, and that's where the coaching aspect comes from for me. So for me, there was no challenges in putting all of that together. The only challenge was, to create the systems, if you like, that done the work for me.
And for those that haven't been through this phase in their business yet, when you say system, does that look like a process? Does that look like training and onboarding for staff? Does that look like, is there technological systems that sit behind this and track things and manage things? Or what does that look like for you?
Yeah, so, a system is a process that allows you to do things so you can scale and have more time off. Now, if someone's listening to this and they're the type of person that is spinning all the plates in their business and turning all the wheels, like as soon as they go on holidays, right, the whole thing will stop and fall over. Now, that's a problem. They don't own a business, they own a job. There's a big difference between the two. Now, look,
they are the business.
There's nothing wrong with owning a job, right? Some people own jobs and they get very well paid. That's cool, right? But if you're going to be a business owner, right, a business is something that operates without you. So you need to create a business that can operate without you. So you need systems. You need a marketing system. You need a system that's going to attract highly qualified leads and help you convert those leads systematically and automatically without you doing the grunt work of marketing. You need a sales system or a sales process that allows you to, convert people systematically and automatically. So we had systems in our swim school that we had to do to convert clients. There was things that we had to say on the phone to book people in. And I taught that to others, and it was part of, what we did. And so it's the same thing that I do these days with my clients. I help them create marketing systems. I help them create sales systems. I help them create systems to manage their team. So it's very important that, when you look at your business holistically from a 30,000 foot view, you break it down into different parts because you can only focus on one part at a time, right? So if you try and improve all of the systems all at once, that's like saying, I want to get fit this year, Andrew, and I'm going to train all of my body parts all at once every time I go to the gym. It's not going to work, right? So what you need to do is, if you want to get fit this year, like this afternoon, you need to go for a bike ride, right? And train your legs. And then tomorrow morning when you get up, because your legs might be a bit sore, focus on your upper body and do your chest. And then the next day, you go back to the gym and concentrate on your back, right? And then the next day, concentrate on your aerobic fitness again by doing your swimming, right?
You're bringing that focused attention in on one particular challenge or one particular area.
Because the truth is, Andrew, that you can only do one thing at a time successfully. Well, I know I can, right? And
me too.
I've said that from stage before, and the females of the room will put their hand up and go, "Oh, that's not true. We can multitask." And I say, "Look, I agree. You can multitask, and people do multitask. But when you're multitasking, you can still only do one thing at a time. So whether you're cooking,
you just flip
and
between,
cleaning, and then you know what I mean. Like you can certainly multitask, and you can juggle balls and plates. But there's that period where you're juggling something, you're focused on that one thing before you catch and juggle the next thing, right?
And that's how computers multitask as well, believe it or not. But yes, women are much better at this than we are, as a generalization. And if we were to get really, really tactical, what do these systems and processes look like? Is this a checklist on a piece of paper, or is there a technology behind this that you use, or what does this look like in your businesses?
Look, it's different for every business owner, but I will say for marketing, there's different components and there's different tools. So it's about using the right tools, saying the right things at the right time. So in marketing, the system that we use is what we call a market message media. So you've got to have the right market. You've got to target the right market. Like, who are these people? What are their fears, frustrations, wants, desires, and needs? So really understanding your market. Once you understand your market, then what you can do is you create the message. So what exactly do you want to say to them, bring them into your funnel or bring them into your pipeline or to have a conversation with them? And then after you've created the message and you understand exactly what you want to say to them, the least and last thing you want to do is pick a media. Now, the media could be direct mail. The media could be cold calling. The media could be Facebook ads. The media could be Twitter ads. The media could be Google advertising. But you always pick the media last. But what people make the mistake when they do marketing, Andrew, is they pick the media first. Because I've got to try Facebook ads. Or someone was getting success with Google advertising. I've got to do Google ads. But that's the biggest mistake you can make in marketing, because you haven't targeted the right buyer personas. You haven't created the right messages that you want to say to them, and then you pick the media. So it's always about doing the market first, the message second, and the media last.
Nice. Thank you. So there's a real formula there, a framework for getting that right in terms of your marketing.
Yeah.
And then obviously there are systems that fall under that.
Yeah.
Processes that fall under that.
Yeah. So let me share a sales system with you. So a sales system, we call it. So in marketing, I call it the 3 M's: the market, the message, the media. In sales, I call it the 3 T's. Right. And the 3 T's are building trust, getting traffic, and improving your team. So it's trust, traffic, team, because your team have got to sell. Now, even if you're a solo entrepreneur, your team is you, right? So you've got to develop you to be better at selling. But before you develop you to be better at selling, you need to figure out, how do you develop trust with people, right? So what do you use to build trust? Do you use tools? Do you use scripts? Do you use some sort of rapport building skills? So after you've built trust, then you pick a traffic system to get the traffic. Now, how do you get the traffic, right? And then after you pick the traffic system so that you've got the sales coming in, it could be your own database, then how do you develop your team so they can sell better and more efficiently and faster?
Nice. So you said at the beginning that you have a real focus on techniques, and you've given us 2 different frameworks that I see as very strategic.
Yeah.
And then obviously the tactical stuff is how you then play that out in the business and make it repeatable, so that there's a checklist, or there's a system, or there's something tracking what staff do, so that every time they do it, it's nice and consistent, and you can bring on new staff and they do the same thing every time.
And I can give you one. I'll just give you one quick example on like a part of a system, for instance. So
that'd be good. Thank you.
When we ran our swim school, and I teach this to a lot of business owners, like when people ring up and they ask for times or they ask for prices, what you don't want to do is give them one price and one option, because giving people one option or one price, it pushes them into the sale. So what we used to do is we used to have 3 price points intentionally, and I teach the same thing to my clients as well. And by having 3 price points, then you say something like this. Okay, so at the end of the conversation, Andrew understands exactly what you've got and exactly what you're offering. And then you say this to Andrew. Okay, Andrew, look, to get started, you've got 3 options. Option 1 is going to cost you $1,000. Option 2, you can do 2 payments of $600. Or option 3, you can do 3 payments of $300 and $50 or $400, whatever it is, right? And then you say to Andrew, so Andrew, to get started, which option would you prefer? And then you shut up. And then so Andrew now has got to process that in his brain, because our brains are wired up to answer questions. And when you ask someone, which option do you prefer, then they've got to answer that question. Now, so that's called a trial close. It doesn't have to be on price. It could be on colour. So you could be shopping for a car, and I could be selling Lexus cars, and I could say to you, okay, Andrew, so we've got this SUV that comes in blue, grey, or white. Which colour would you prefer? So I prefer blue. Straight away, you've now owned the blue car.
Absolutely.
See? So that's a technique within inside a system, you see. So that comes comes under the teamwork framework, but that's a technique within a system.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Now, I know some people that work in this space are small business owners, entrepreneurs, coaches, therapists, and healers, of which you've got a lot of experience with being a coach yourself. They often struggle with this idea of delivering a question like that because it is a preloaded question. It's a question that says you can buy this, or you can buy this, or you can buy this. There's no option there for them not to buy. So for any of those small business owners that are still struggling with that idea of sales and they don't want to be too pushy or too much of a sleazy salesperson, what would you say to them?
Yeah, look, the thing is this: if you don't make a sale, right, you're going to go hungry.
Yeah,
and all great
go out of business.
Know that. So the thing is, Andrew, it's a mindset shift, right? And the mindset shift is to stop all the I won't swear, to stop all the BS.
Say it,
right?
Yeah.
To stop the BS, to stop the bull crap that you're telling yourself about sales and selling. Because selling is just a transference of energy. When I was a swimming coach, what did I sell? I sold the dream, right? I sold the dream of winning state titles. I sold the dream of winning national titles. I sold the dream of being on the international stage. Does that make me sleazy because I'm selling a dream? Of course not, right?
No.
When I ran a swim school, I sold the importance of making sure children learnt to swim to avoid drowning. Did that make me a sleazy salesperson? Of course not, right? No. Now I sell people the dream of scaling their business. I sell the dream of them improving their marketing. I sell them the dream of, not being ripped off by another digital marketing agency. Does that make me a sleazy salesperson? Of course not. So it's a mindset shift, you see. So any practitioners, any solo entrepreneurs that are listening to this at the moment, sales is not sleazy. Some of the best people that I know are salespeople. Some of my best friends are real estate agents, right? So they're not sleazy people. They're just really good at their job. Now, so what you've got to do is just put that in your mind at another place, because sales isn't a dirty word. Selling's not a dirty word. It's just that you have a bad connection to it because you think all salespeople are like used car salespeople. But by the way, that's actually used car salespeople, because I'm sure there's some of the nicest people in the world are used car salespeople.
Absolutely.
Right? And let's be honest, there's cowboys in any industry, right? There's people and cowboys that will rip you off selling cars. There's cowboys and people who rip you off as physiotherapists, as massage therapists, as coaches, as, there's all sorts of people that make up the world, right? So I think the first piece of advice I can give it to you, Andrew, and those listening is don't use a global generalization that all salespeople are sleazy, right? Because that's not true. That's like saying all people are sleazy. It's not true. Salespeople it's just a profession. And as business owners, we've got to understand that nothing happens. You can't serve a person unless a sale takes place. And that sales is just a transference of energy.
I love this. Thank you. So there's a mindset shift there, not sleazy through to service. You said it there. You said you can't serve people unless you're selling to them.
That's right.
So it's not sleazy sales, it's service. And then you talked about a real attachment to this, or a connection with the outcome, or the dream that you called it. So this is really the outcome that you can provide for your clients. So getting really clear on that and owning that, I think will help people connect with this idea of, well, this is the value that I'm delivering from the sounds of it.
Exactly. So when your customers and clients come to you, Andrew, they have a vision. They have a dream. They want a transformation. You've got to help sell them the dream. What's the service that you provide that sells the dream? Transformation that they're looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic. So this is then part of your message. You talk about your market and the message and then the media.
Yeah.
So this is really forming the foundation of that message piece is what's the vision, what's the dream, what's the outcome that you're going to take them on that transformational journey towards.
Yeah. And as you can see, Andrew, that's why it's super important to have systems in place.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you for sharing that with us. And I know you've been on this journey for a while now, and you did talk about some of the mistakes that people make in terms of starting with the media first. What would you say are some of the biggest mistakes that most entrepreneurs and small business owners make when it comes to their marketing and marketing themselves and their business?
So let's backtrack and take marketing out. I think that one of the biggest mistakes that business owners make is they don't believe in themselves.
Wow.
Right? They don't believe in themselves. So the thing is this, Andrew, if you were one of my athletes and you came to me and you wanted to train 20, 30 hours a week, but you didn't believe that you could win a national title, what's the point? So I think most people get in their own way because they don't believe in themselves. And people might be listening to this and go, oh, that's not true, I believe. Well, really? Do you really believe that your business can double or triple in the next 12 months? Do you really believe that at your core? And if you do, is that written down? Is that part of your own vision board? Is that part of your own goals? Because if it's not, right, then it's not really part of what you believe. Because if you believe it, you would make a plan to achieve it. It would be written down, and it'd be written down in goals. So that way when you talk to me, you go, Cam, my goals are I want to double my business in the next 12 months. I want to go from 500 clients to 1,000 clients, or I want to go from 5 clients to 20 clients, or I want to go from 20 clients to 40 clients. Now, I know that people don't believe in themselves, Andrew, because in my 10 years of doing this consulting and coaching business, not one person has got on a call with me and said, Cameron, in the next 12 months, I want to double my business and go from X to Y. They're not super clear about where they want to go. So that's the biggest mistake they make. They don't have the clarity of where they want to go, and therefore I believe they don't believe in themselves.
That's awesome. Thank you. So there's a mindset shift there again. So we've talked about this mindset shift a couple of times now. First time around sales to service, and then secondly, the shift is believing in yourself.
Yeah.
But what I find is there's a real difference between knowing something up here and saying, yes, okay, I believe consciously, and then actually feeling it and actually believing it down here. And the same could be said for sleazy sales through to service.
Yeah.
You really need to feel that down here. It's not enough to just kind of know it at an academic level.
Correct.
And you would have had this role to transform people time and time again so they do believe. How do you approach that with clients or with coachees? Because it's not an easy thing to shift things when it's down here in the core.
Yeah, actually and again, I'll challenge you on that, Andrew. You said it's not an easy thing to shift. So as a coach, I'm going to call you out on that, right?
Sure.
Because you're saying it's not, and I know you're just saying it because we're in a conversation and some people do think that, right? But the thing is, if you think that it's not easy to shift, therefore it's what? It's not easy to shift. If you think it's easy to shift, guess what? It's easy to shift. The challenge is, Andrew, people don't know how to make the shift. So you're right. They know it at an academic level, at a rational level. They know it in their mind. But how do you create a system that allows them to feel it in their body so they get the transformation?
So easy to shift or not, how do you help people with that?
So here's 3 things that I help people with, right? So number 1, they've got to articulate what their goals are. So first of all, they have to know at a rational level what they want to do, okay? So let me share this in a story. When I was training for triathlons, and I was very good at Ironman triathlons. So an Ironman is a 3.8 kilometer swim, 180 kilometer bike ride, and a 42 kilometer run. So when I was training for triathlons, I used to use this little set of tools, if you like, to put myself into a position where I could be successful. And so the first thing you must do is you must write down your goals. You must know where it is that you want to go. Start using your body. So one of the ways that you can do that is through affirmations. So you need to create an affirmation for yourself, and you need to say that affirmation time and time again. Sometimes you can say it in your bedroom when no one's around. You can go down the beach. I often go down the beach, right down the end where no one is, and I'll do my affirmations. And I'll, put myself into a state where I go from them just being words to being feelings in my body. And I say them with such intensity and feeling that it moves it from rational to emotional. And then the third piece of the puzzle that I find works really well is visualization. So you need to visualize your success in advance. And I used to do that with my athletes. I do it now in business. And I also did it when I was training for triathlons. I used to visualize myself achieving my best times, right? And so when I get in a race, I've got my affirmations that I'm going to keep saying over and over again, because I'm not going to have to think, right? I just want to say them. I want them to drive me. So my affirmations drive me, and the visualization allows me to already be in that place. I've already been there before. Even though I haven't physically been there, I've imagined and rehearsed that mentally over and over again before. So when I'm in that race, when I'm in that time and space, I've already been there, in essence, right? So they're the three keys to move from knowing to feeling. So number one, write the goals. Number two, create some affirmations that empower you and practice those affirmations with feeling. And number three, make sure you practice visualization, where you see yourself and experiencing yourself being successful in advance. Now, I've got to ask you, Andrew, how many entrepreneurs or business owners do you know or have you come across that do those three things?
Not many.
And that's why they're successful. Right?
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. That's very practical. I really appreciate that. Yeah. All right. Again, well, look,
sorry to jump in. So again, if I could borrow an example from the athletic world, I ask you another question. How many Olympic gold medalists do you think use a process like I just explained to win an Olympic gold medal?
I would say almost all of them would have to.
There you go. You see?
At that elite level, there's no
margin. To be the
best
in the world, they're already doing something. So if you want to be the best in the world at your business, you need to follow what they're doing.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's awesome. All right. Well, look, we're almost out of time for today, but I just wanted to ask you, do you have any other messages for small business owners and entrepreneurs, coaches, therapists, healers, leaders, before we wrap it up for today?
Oh, look, I would just say, just make sure you develop systems, develop your marketing system, develop a sales system, develop a business system. They're probably the three biggest ones. And, to take what we've talked about today and put those into practice. And if you want some help, or if you want to reach out and book a discovery call with me, you can go to camroberts.com.au and we'll have a chat and we'll go from there.
Perfect. I was going to ask where we can find you online, but sounds like that's the best place to do it.
Yeah, so you can go online. If you go to Google and type in Cam Roberts Podcast Show, all my podcast episodes will come up. And then, camroberts.com.au is my website, and you can hook up there with me as well.
Amazing. Well, thanks again, Cam. That was really insightful and so practical as well. We were really able to get down into the tactics of it. Excellent. So thank you for being so generous.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me on, Andrew. Really appreciate it.
No worries. Cheers, mate. Talk to you later.
Bye, buddy.
Okay, and that's it for our first live show. What do you think? Let us know in the comments what you thought of that, and if you have any follow-up questions, and we can follow up with Cam for you. I've really enjoyed this. Look forward to doing more of them. And until next time, have fun. Enjoy it. See ya.
That was the Heal and Transform podcast with Andrew Ramsden. If you enjoyed the episode or found it valuable, ask yourself, Who else do you know who would benefit from it? Pass it on or send them to healandtransform.org/podcast. And until next time, remember, to make a bigger positive impact, we need to leverage ourselves, tap into the right technology, and collaborate, because we can only heal and transform the world together.